All right, boys and girls, last week we were drawing our patterned pumpkins and outlining using our black Sharpie or a black crayon. This week we're going to finish our pumpkins with paint. So the first thing we want to do is get our colors ready. Remember, we activate our colors by adding water into them. So I want to work with red, and I'm going to add a few drops of water in my red, orange, and yellow. And again, just getting a few drops of water into those colors so that they are activated. Now, Mrs. Jarek, pumpkins are orange. Why do I want red or yellow? You might be thinking. And so we're gonna work with mixing our colors a little bit, and we're gonna create a value in our pumpkin or a color change in our pumpkin. And so that means when we mix our colors, we're gonna see it go from light orange to regular orange to a darker red orange. So let's get started. First up, I'm gonna work with red. And I want to put the red in the bottom sections, the bottom parts of my pumpkin. Okay, and then I'm going to get some water in there, and I want to spread it out. So again, just near the bottom. I'm not going to paint the whole thing, just in the bottoms of my pumpkin. Each section is just getting a little bit of red. Okay, and I'm going to just get some water on there. I want to keep this area wet so that my color blending will be very successful. Now, next, I'm going to work with yellow. And I'm going to put the yellow in the top of my pumpkin sections. And again, I'm not painting the whole pumpkin. I'm going to get some water on here. Make sure this yellow stays pretty wet so that my colors blend. And then at last, I'm going to work with my orange. And so I'm gonna work, section by section. Since my paint dribbled there, I guess this will be the section that I start with. So notice how I'm painting just to the top of the yellow and just to the top of the red. And I want to do that and give it a second to kind of sit and dry, and then I'm going to work with my water, and I'm going to kind of do this back and forth motion. And in doing that, my red and my orange and my yellow and my orange start to blend together, and this starts to turn into a nice dark red orange, and this becomes a nice light yellow orange, and then this becomes a true orange, and it'll help it make it look round and realistically 3D. Okay, so now we should see 3 different variations of orange happening, and we have created a little bit of a color value or a change in color hues throughout our pumpkin, and it just helps make it look a little bit more realistic and round. Oh, I realized that we drew grass in ours last time. We just did some lines like this, and I forgot to put those in here. Okay, so right now our pumpkin is really wet and our background is really dry, and we want to keep it that way so that our colors are not blending. I'm sure you noticed that the red and yellow and orange liked to blend together because they were wet. So while our pumpkin works on drying, we're going to come down here into our leaves. And so because we are starting to get into fall, we know that our leaves start to change color and change in the fall. So I'm actually going to come in with some brown and put some speckles on my leaves with some brown paint. And I know that they change from green to brown, so then I can come in and pick up some green and kind of get some speckles in there. And then with water, when I blend these and spread those paints, I start to get these blue, goodness gracious, these brown and these greens, making our leaves look like they are changing colors. Our brown tends to be pretty dark, and so a lot of times I have kids say, oh my goodness, I can no longer see my lines because my paint is so dark. And so paper towels are magic, watercolors are magic, and where this is really dark and I don't see my lines and I'm getting upset, if I set my paper towel down and kind of dab it up, look at how it picks up that paint, and we really see those browns and greens to show our changing leaves. I can come over here and do the same, and look how amazing those leaves are by dabbing up with our paper towel. Super cool, super exciting trick. Now, before I paint my background, I want to kind of feel my painting and my pumpkin, and I can feel that these areas are a little bit dry. It's still very wet up top. So I'm gonna work at the bottom of my picture, and I'm gonna work with green. And I like the idea of these lines, and I want to kind of continue to paint those lines for my grass, just using my green watercolor paint. It doesn't have to be filled in, it doesn't have to be solid. If you like it solid and you want to do that, that's okay too. I like to kind of see that grass and those lines and those leaves kind of laying in the grass. Again, personal preference. If you want to spread it, make it a solid green, it's your painting, you can do so. And then that gave these sides some time to dry. And so we can come in and we can kind of do a sky. Now I like to just put some drops of water on my paper. My water's a little bit dirty, that's okay. So you can see these drops hopefully in the video. Okay, get my blue, make sure I've got a lot of water in my blue. And then if I pick it up and if I start to drop my blue onto those water droplets, it starts to spread around. The paint starts to kind of disperse, is what that's called. And so I can make a really cool sky by doing that. The other colors I like to add to my sky are purple. And oh my goodness, Mrs. Cherokee, you use a lot of water. And that's okay. Water is the key ingredient to using these paints. Again, lots of water in my purple. Come in here, drop some purple on these water droplets and watch it spread out. Get those colors on there. Give them a minute. And then the last thing is just using water to get them to fill in and create a sky. And I like that this becomes dark with the purple. It starts to look like a really eerie autumn night. Okay. Look how cool that sky looks. And then your last area that you would need to paint in is your stem. So we can fill those in with brown. And we are done with our autumn patterned pumpkins. I hope you had fun painting this with me.